So if anybody has any questions, just feel free to just ask and I'll answer. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is exactly trade lines and what they are. So trade lines is a line of credit, in particular credit cards that people offer. And they, like any credit card, it has a certain amount of limits, certain amount of years. Um, and then there's utilization that should be down to 15% or less when a primary account holder is adding authorized users. So I offer a number of different types of credit cards or trade lines for people to get on and piggyback off of the credit score. I'm sorry, not the credit score, the credit that is on that trade line that trade line has to offer. So the trade lines can be small. They can have a small number. They can be basic credit cards. They can be store cards, or they can even be bank cards. Um, I have a mixture of both. I have Navy Federal credit cards. Oh, my apologies. I have Navy Federal credit cards. I have store cards like Walmart, credit cards, and bank cards, Barclays cards. So it's a mixture. So the benefit of a trade line for a person with bad credit is obviously if they get on a trade line or two or three, depending on what their needs are, they absorb all of the positivity on that particular trade line and it reflects on their credit report. So that is the big thing with trade lines. That's the major thing. That's why it is a very popular thing. Now, what makes it unpopular is sometimes due to the lack of knowledge, people feel that that this is, I guess, kind of cheating. It's not cheating if the cards and the credit cards and the banks offer this. This is something that people have on all of their credit cards, and they don't know that they can use it. It's just not illegal. It's not underhanded. It is something that is offered that people just don't utilize. So it's definitely a good thing if you need to increase your credit score or if you need to get years on your credit, if you don't have any years. Before I went to purchase my home, um, I had to fix my credit. I fixed my credit, but the problem was I didn't have enough years of credit history. When you have when you're trying to build your credit profile, you want it to be you want it to have multiple things on there. You want to have multiple accounts. You want to have multiple positive accounts. You want to have history, and you want it to be you want to be looked at as credit worthy. So when you go ask for a loan, a personal loan, a car loan, a mortgage, when they look at your credit profile, they see that you have all this history, you have a good payment history, you are responsible with paying down your credit cards, then you want them to offer you or approve you for a loan. So that's why it's really good to get on a trade line. So when it comes to credit repair and trade lines, well, I'll explain why they go hand in hand. So if you have really good credit already, obviously you don't need trade lines. Unless you don't have enough credit or a high amount of credit. And that doesn't always reflect negatively on your credit report. That's usually beneficial for people that are trying to build business credit, and then we can talk about that later. People who have bad credit or low credit scores or bad payment histories, how trade lines will benefit them. For example, if you have high utilizations on the credit cards that you already have, then you would want to get on a trade line where the utilization is under 15%, preferably zeroed out like my credit cards are. The reason why is your whole credit profile is averaged out. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples as I talk, but it averages out. So let's say you have 3 credit cards and collectively your utilization is over 50%. If you get on a trade line or two that has zero utilization, it will naturally drop your utilization down to probably 10% automatically. So that's a positive. Even if you already have credit cards, it's good to get on a trade line to correct that. So I'm actually going to share my screen and give you a couple of examples of what I'm talking about. So, all right. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna give you guys like two examples where it was pretty drastic. The changes were pretty drastic. I did show this particular account in another Zoom call, but for the sake of this Zoom call, I'm going to show this. So what I do when people are interested in purchasing a trade line, a lot of people don't know what they need. So I set up a consultation with them, a free consultation, and I will ask for their Credit Karma login. Even though it only shows the two bureaus, it gives me a general idea of what the third bureau is going to look like, because ultimately your credit per the FCRA, your information is supposed to be identical across the board, 100%. So what's on this account, on these bureaus should definitely be on the third bureau. So this particular person, she started off, we can see where she started off. This young lady had really bad credit. Her score was practically zero when she came to me. So this is in September. As you can see, her score with TransUnion at the time, September 4th, was 524. If you look at Equifax in September, her score, it should say it right here, September was at a zero. It was actually, I got it to a zero. It's not reflecting on here, but both bureaus had her in the low 500s in September. The reason why her score was so low at the time is because she had two collections, but she had zero credit and she had zero age. And these two accounts are actually the negative accounts that I was referring to. She had two accounts. I removed one, and then eventually she got another collection. That's another story. So this is what she started with in September. And we're going to go back to this report. So that was September. I removed one of the two collections off of her credit report, and then it dropped her down to 0 points. So she went from 500 to 0 points. I did prep her for that. I prep all my clients and let them know that bad credit is still credit. So when I remove bad credit, it leaves you with nothing. And that's why she needed a trade line to shoot her score up. So after I removed it, she got on a trade line. And as you can see, October 19th, she was at 0. And then October 22nd, she got to 675. And then this looks like as of very recently, her score jumped an additional 32 points. As you know, and if you don't know, I'm sorry, there is a difference between a Vantage score and a FICO score. I always call FICO reality and Vantage score just a bit of a delusion, but you don't really want to go completely by Vantage score. What Vantage is FICO's greatest one and only competitor. So what Vantage does is they buy your credit score from FICO and then they do their own calculations, and their calculations are typically lower than your actual FICO score. No one really uses Vantage, except I do believe some rental companies might. But this allows me to get a general idea of where you are score wise. So even though her score went up 32 points and she's at a 707, I understand that this is Vantage, and more than likely her score is between 20 to 35 points higher than what they're showing here. But I like to see activity and I like to see movement. So you can see the changes. You can see where her credit is right now. So because she had no credit when she started, this was in the black. This was, her payment history was 0. Her credit card usage was 0. I think she did get on, I think her father's credit card. So that's why she has a 4%, 44% utilization. My cards are 0. So she got that. And then she was left with one derogatory. This was, I forgot what color this was. I think this was in the red. And then this was black. So when you read a Credit Karma credit report, they have color codes to make things easier for people to understand. So if it is green, obviously it's great, orangish, yellow's okay, decent, and then like red is poor and black is non-existent. So the card that she got on with me, it brought her from a black to a reddish, orangish color, I think. Yeah, reddish. But it gave her some years. Because she had nothing, the fact that she got on any type of card with any sort of history allowed her to go from 0 to 700. And then her Equifax, which is amazing. So again, Vantage score, even though it says 776, more than likely she's at an 800. So again, these are the benefits of getting on a trade line. And as far as speed is concerned, this happened quickly, as you can see. How this benefits your potential clients is a lot of clients say, hey, I want my, I need my house like yesterday, right? And so if they have, what I'll do is I'll do my consultation, and if it looks like they qualify for or would benefit from a trade line, I look at all of this, I determine where they're slacking at, and I'll help them pick out a card. But I also pay attention to the dates. So if some of my cards report in a couple of days, sometimes some cards will report at the end of the month, some cards will report at the beginning of the next month, but it's always within a 30-day cycle. So regardless of which card they get, we all know within 30 days that once they get on this card and it reports, that their score is going to shoot up. And then once it shoots up, I just tell them, go back to your mortgage company or whoever your lender is, and go get approved. And then they get approved. But this is what I look at. I'm going to show you another person, just so you have a general idea of what this can do. I think it's this person. I could be wrong. No, it's not that person. I have a couple of people, but it was her and it was another person that had a 0 score. And just to let you know that if you have a client that you check their credit profile and you see that they never had credit at all, send them over to me, because I can build them a credit report. Basically, I can give them something. I can give them years. I can give them history. I can give them consistent payments, whether that means they have to get on multiple cards or a few cards, that's fine. Now I'm not a mortgage lender. I don't work in any other type of insurance but workers' comp, and workers' comp, it does not deal with this. So if you know more about your industry than I do, so if you're referring people over to me and you want me to look at something in particular, you have to let me know. For example, when I work with Team One Love, for example, with Naisha and Sean, when Sean sends me over a client, a lot of times he's already analyzed their credit report and he'll tell me specifically, Tamiya, they need a trade line with years, or they don't have enough credit here, or get 1 or 2 collections off, and then they'll need to see if they need a trade line. because you know what's best and what you need your client to, what level they need to be at over me. I'll always get in credit repair mode, and I'll look at the whole credit profile, and I'll say, okay, let me clean everything up. Let me add this, let me do that, because I know what my capabilities are. But it may take a little longer when your client just needs a quick fix. So I'm gonna just pause for a second. And if anybody has any questions, because I can go on and on about this. So anybody has any questions, let me know. And I'm also trying to find another password for you guys. But does anybody have any questions or concerns so far? No? Okay. So I'll take the mute as no. All right. So I'm gonna look up another, and if you do have a question, just hop on and just ask the question. It's no biggie. All right, so there's one more client I wanted to show you, and I just have to get their log on. Okay, I have it. Okay. Bear with me.
This is Ronnie. I have a question.
Okay, I'm Ronnie.
So I know that I've seen a lot of comments about Credit Karma and how, they're not the most reliable or the most up-to-date information. So how does that work when you're using Credit Karma to kind of compare the credit
report? Right.
Yes.
Okay, so I actually use a platform called Smart Credit. I'm partnered with Smart Credit. I can give you guys the link if you like. With Smart Credit, it allows me to look at all three bureaus. As you can see, Karma only shows two. Credit Karma, Smart Credit does also use a Vantage score, but it shows the whole credit profile in detail. I use Credit Karma when I'm trying to look at certain things in particular. If I'm looking for a score increase, if I want to find out just in the fastest way, just a screenshot of where they are at the moment. Most credit platforms such as Smart Credit, Identity IQ, there's I think like 5 other companies out there. They don't update except for every 30 days. But Credit Karma updates once a week, in some cases instantly. So if let's say something like you got an inquiry, it will show within that hour that you just applied for something, and all the other platforms won't show that. So I have a love-hate relationship with Credit Karma, because their scoring is not accurate, but their snapshot of the moment is acceptable. And if you know how to properly look at it like I do, you know like where the benefits lie. Karma is actually geared toward, believe it or not, I did a little bit of research on this, but Credit Karma is geared towards the poor and working class. And that's why it almost looks cartoonish, and it's very flashy and colorful, because if you don't realize what they're doing, they're trying to encourage you to get on credit cards. They're trying to encourage you to get on secured credit cards. If you just keep opening an account, every time you see colors saying, oh, you got a 2-point increase, here's a card for you, you're actually going to destroy your credit. And people don't know that. So I don't like it from that perspective, but it is a tool that I utilize. So I use both at the same time. It's like, what changed recently within the past 24, 48 hours, maybe 72 hours, and let me see everything grouped up together. Like when we scrolled down and we were able to see those different sections, the history, the utilization, things like that, that's ideal to use. It just gives me a general idea.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so I'm going to get into this other client's account. Now, the last time I was in his account, his credit score was amazing. And the problem is sometimes people, they don't, they get overexcited when you increase their score and they mess it up. So they mess it up because they know I'm just going to fix it. Some people get just some people just get a few point increase and they totally destroy their credit. I don't understand. But I try to talk him out of it. So what his score should look like is perfection. But again, I haven't been in it in at least a couple weeks. So I'm gonna cross my fingers, but it will still show the history of what I've done. All right, great. Yeah. So this guy, same situation. Let me go into TransUnion. All right, so he did come to me as well in September. He had no credit. He didn't have a collection. He didn't have one credit card, absolutely nothing. So when he came over to me, all of this was in the black. Right now, as you can see, his score is his report is very similar to the other ones because, believe it or not, they're siblings. So I'm doing the whole families. So they both got on their parents' card while I was fixing their credit and adding trade lines. So that's why you see colors. But when he first was with me, all of this was black. No payment history, no credit card usage. I'm sorry, this was green because he had zero collections, charge-offs, things like that. Again, this was all black, so some of this is a little different than when I started. But being that he got on a trade line, this is what happened. It gave him history. It gave him the excellent payment history because of the card that he got on. And then it naturally raised his score here. So he went from a 0 and then in October, September, October, and then it shot up to 738 from October 12th to October 22nd. So more than likely that's around the time the card reported, the trade line reported to his credit report. And then if you look at his Equifax, he's at a 776, same situation, right? Now, more than likely his FICO score, he is at an 800. This is again Vantage. Now, how can we get him to like an 800 or an 850, you ask? I'll tell you. To get to an 800, keep in mind a credit score of 750 is equivalent to an 800 credit score, an 850 credit score. A lot of people don't know that. You still get the same advantages. A lot of people say, hey, I want an 800 plus credit score, but you really don't need it. You'll get the same benefits as if you with a 750. But it just looks good on paper though. It looks pretty cool to log into your Credit Karma, your smart credit, and say, oh wow, I'm at a 764, 776. So, but what would make this perfection, honestly, is if everything was in the green. So if he had, let's start off with this history. 3 years and 4 months of credit history basically tells the lenders that yes, they have a high credit score. Yes, they have a good payment history. However, they only have 3 years and 4 months of credit history, right? So some people just need more years. They need to look more believable to their lender. Their lender has to trust in them. How can they give trust if they don't see enough history? So like if you just got a card, like what if this kid was 21 years old, right? And he just got credit for like 3 months ago, a lender is going to say that's not enough history for us to believe in you to give you this loan. So if you get on a trade line, you can get on a trade line with 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, right? 30 years is going to reflect on your credit report, and that makes you more trustworthy to the lenders. Credit card utilization, they say you want to be at 30% utilization or less. You don't want to be at 30% anything. 30% anything is still bad. It will put you in the green in karma, but like I stated, credit karma is not really there to help. It's there to hurt you on the back end if you see the bigger picture. So I strongly encourage everybody to use 10% or less. So all my trade lines are 0%. They're 0%. So if you have a credit card that is at 15, 20, 30%, and you're on my card is going to wipe that out. So it will then drop your average card utilization down to 0%, which will then make this in the green, turn this to the green. So now these two things, if this client had way more years meaning you really want to be like 7 to 8 years or more to get in the green, right? And then your credit utilization, you want it 10% or less. That you want your score to be as excellent as possible. And then naturally you want to have little to no collections. So he's in the green because he has no collections or charge-offs, he has no inquiries. Now the total account, you want a mixture of cards or just trade lines, period, whether it's a car loan, whether it's a home loan, credit cards. So what some people do is they'll get multiple credit cards, they'll get a store card, they'll get a bank card, a couple of them to build it up. Know what your clients are looking for and what they need, because I don't typically stress this too much when someone is trying to just get a house. That's not usually a big deal unless the lender says it's a big deal. So I won't bombard them and say, hey, get 10 credit cards, because I don't really encourage that unless you're trying to build for business credit. If you're trying to get business credit, it's a whole different ball game. But yeah, so that's how this person would actually have a perfect score, so to speak. So I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. The next thing that I want to talk about is some people get concerned, or there's this misconception that if you're on a trade line that you have access to the credit card. You don't. You have zero control. You don't see anything on there. You can't get the points if the client tries to call the actual bank or the creditor to get any sort of information on the card, they don't give it. So a lot of people are very concerned about that as well, but I just wanted to make that clear. I do give contracts when people sign up and get a trade line. My contract actually protects my company and the client as well. So it's a pretty lengthy contract, but it's to protect everyone involved. So this is definitely a safe place. Now I want to talk about fees and payments just so you guys have a general idea. So there's always going to be an upfront fee, and then there's going to be a monthly fee. My clients and anyone that signs up with me, they're not obligated to me. They are not forced to be under a contract for X amount of years. They can cancel whenever they feel like it. But the fee is basically based off of the quality of the card. Quality meaning the name of the card, like anything, when you get something that's top of the line or well sought after, then you're going to pay more. The quality of the card, the brand of the card, whether it has a lot of years, that's pretty big. If it has a high credit limit, that's pretty big. When I have my consultation with my clients, they tell me what their needs are. If they were referred over, I kind of already know what's necessary. I look at their Credit Karma and I can determine which card is best for them. What's been happening to me a lot lately is people are running to me like, hey, I need 5 trade lines. And I'm like, oh, cool. What are you trying to do? Oh, I'm trying to get a house next month. You don't need 5 trade lines. That's extremely expensive, right? So I'll tell them, well, let me look at your karma. Oh, you need a boost in years, or oh, you need, a credit card with a limit of 25,000 would be ideal for you. And it just has 5 years, but you're already good on years. So this is kind of what our conversation sounds like. And then I price it accordingly. Some people want the Barclays, they want the Chase cards, they want the Platinum cards, they want the Navy Federal cards. And they think they know what they're talking about, but I will redirect them accordingly. Sometimes it's just not necessary. Some people want a Navy Federal credit card because for natural reasons. That is also one of the most sought after credit cards, Navy Federal, because it has huge benefits to them. But a Navy Federal credit card, that's one card that you have to pay for the whole year. It's one time and you pay it for the whole year, and that can be pricey, but it has so many benefits to it. And I let them determine if they need that or not. So I have several Navy Federal credit cards that they can use, and there's no monthly payment for that. If I feel that having a higher end card is not within their best interest, then I do have lower credit cards, like Capital One credit cards with a couple $100 on there. Like I said, all of my cards have 0 utilization. All my cards have at least a decent amount of years. Most of them, some of them do have just 1 month on there, but I explain to my clients what 1 month will do to your history and if it's necessary to even be on that card or not. So that's how the fees work. Because I had this one guy say, oh, getting a trade line is extremely expensive. It's extremely expensive if you're looking for 20-year credit cards or limits that are very high. But it's just like anything. So that's pretty much it as far as me explaining trade lines for now. I'm going to continue to do videos. For some reason, I just keep getting a bunch of messages asking me for trade lines and explain trade lines. So hopefully this video will help, and the other videos that I have coming will be helpful. But in the meantime, do you guys have any questions at all?
No, thank you so much.
You're welcome. What about you, Ron? No? Okay.
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment. Okay. Well, I put
No,
my
you know how I
contact.
normally will reach out.
Yes. So just to let you know, let you guys know too that even though this says Fix My Credit Now 850, I am the owner and the creator of Fix My Credit Now 850. But I'm also connected with Our Beginnings, which is a company that they're predominantly doing the trade lines and things. We're integrated in a nutshell. So if you see anything like that, it's still a safe place to go to. So I have my contact information if you want to refer your clients over. If you need a link, just let me know. I can send a referral link. But other than that, just keep looking for more videos, okay? Okay, guys. That's right, you're muted. I'll talk to you guys
Awesome,
later.
thank you.
You're welcome, and you have a good one. I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, you too. Take care.
All right, bye-bye.